detective with a threat assessment group. And what our unit is in charge of is any threats against law enforcement, any of the deputies on our department, or any of the department employees and their family members. Actually, I never had a desire to be in law enforcement. When I was going to school, I took a couple of administration of justice classes, and it piqued my interest, and it kind of just snowballed from there. And then I decided to become a dispatcher, a police dispatcher. Did that for about a year and a half, and then I finally decided to apply as a deputy sheriff. I did 8 years in homicide, and that is the cream of the crop as far as investigations. When I was in homicide, obviously you see the worst of the worst, but in the end, to be able to give the victim's family closure and to be able to give them answers is probably the most rewarding thing that I've experienced as a detective on the department. Being a deputy on the sheriff's department has helped me grow as a person. It's taught me a lot. It's taught me a lot about myself, and it's taught me a lot about people in general. When I first came on, it was a little bit tougher for women. The department recognized that, and I think that women now have a better career path, or a chance at a better career path, than when I was a rookie.
I've been with the San Diego Sheriff's Department for about 7.5 years. My current job is with the Transit Enforcement Unit. We go all over the county. We respond to incidences on the North County Transit District tracks, also the coaster, sprinter, and the bus routes. Being a deputy for the past 8 years has been great. I like the fact that every day is different. I never know what I'm going to wake up to. I chose to become a law enforcement deputy because I like the idea of being outside, not staying in one place, cooped up in a building. I really like interacting with people. The great thing about the Sheriff's Department is there are many opportunities, and they're not limited to gender. If there's something you want to do, all you gotta do is study, apply yourself, and work hard to achieve your goals. Joining the San Diego Sheriff's Department, who has an outstanding reputation throughout the nation, is probably the best decision I have made for myself. My family is very supportive. We're very close. They were a little surprised. I did time in the Marine Corps with 3 deployments to the Middle East. When I got out of the Marine Corps, they were a little relieved I wasn't doing something dangerous, and then I told them I joined the Sheriff's Department to be a deputy, but they're still very supportive.
Currently, I work as a lieutenant at the North Coastal Station. I've been with the department for 21 years, and I am in charge of administration at the station right now. I think law enforcement chose me. I started off after college in marketing, and I moved on to dispatching at the comm center, and while I was there, I felt like I wanted to be out there and be with the people. I grew up in a family of 6 kids. I have 5 brothers. I'm the youngest. I'm the only girl, and I was a cheerleader in high school. I was a debutante right after high school. I went to college. I was in a sorority. I mean, this is not something that anyone would have ever pictured me doing. And now they've done ride-alongs with me before, and they were just surprised and shocked when I was in patrol that I was doing the job I was doing. It still terrified them, but they were happy for me now. I think back of my first real fight when I was out in patrol, and it was the middle of the night. And you always kind of wonder, can I do this job? And that particular night, I got in a pursuit, a high-speed pursuit. The suspect crashed. He got out of his car to run, and I pulled him down off the wall. I held him at gunpoint, and he cooperated. And then he looked up, and it was like a light went off. And it was 4 o'clock in the morning. It was pitch black. He was tattooed from head to toe. And you could tell the light went off that said, "It's a chick." And he stood up and he just started fighting with me. The fight was on. I called for cover, but I kept in there, and I hit him with my sap several times, and he went running, and I chased after him, and this kept happening. And I finally got it quartered. I got him under arrest. I had pepper sprayed him. I had pepper sprayed myself. But in the end, His shoulder was hurt, I was perfectly fine, and that was the satisfaction that I can do this job the same as a man can. And I went home that day feeling like I own the world and that I was never ever scared again, the way that you kind of feel sometimes at first when you're apprehensive as to, you know you can use your voice to get out of a fight, and you're not sure if you can use your physical body. And that was the most gratifying thing ever, and I carry that with me every day. It bent that badge, and when I retire, I want that badge back.
I chose law enforcement because I wanted to serve the community and be a role model to my children as well as people in my community. I've been on the department for 20 years. I started in detentions and worked there for about a year and a half, and then I went back through the Law Enforcement Academy and have worked several different facets in law enforcement. Area investigations at Lemon Grove was my favorite assignment. Just dealing with the many cases that you're involved in, you're talking to the public, you're solving crimes, and being a big part of law enforcement. So that was the best part of my career. When I first came on the department, women, I think, were seen as a hindrance, and now it's not so much based on gender, being a man or a woman, but what we bring as a deputy sheriff to the sheriff's department. The sheriff's department has so many opportunities. It's endless for us. It's whatever you want to do with your career. I feel like I'm making a difference in people's lives now, being in backgrounds, starting people's careers and giving them the opportunity that someone gave me. So it's an important job because I get to see it from the beginning, and then later you will see these people in their careers. So it's giving back.
I started as a cadet in 1974 and retired as a commander in 2008. I started very early. As a teenager, I joined the Explorer program. I was later hired by the Sheriff's Department as a cadet, which was also an entry-level interest for young people. And I got hooked, and rest is history. When I started on the Sheriff's Department, it was almost exclusively detentions. After a few years, women began to go to patrol. I was actually sent to the Narcotics Task Force. Working Narcotics Task Force was amazing. I got to do amazing things, and working as a homicide detective was particularly rewarding, and it prepared me to be a supervisor in those areas as I promoted. Opportunities on the Sheriff's Department now are pretty much unlimited. It has really nothing to do with being male or female. It has to do with being special. People in law enforcement are special. It takes a special kind of person to deal with what is thrown at you and the challenges that you face. But like I said, it's so very personally rewarding.
I'm a lieutenant at the San Diego Court Services Bureau in downtown. I've been a deputy sheriff for over 24 years. I was an area detective at the Alpine Sheriff's Station for over 10 years. That was the most fascinating job I ever had, very, very satisfying. Being able to take something so small as what I would consider a small crime case, of course the victim does not believe it's small, and take that case and run with it, find the clues, put things together, put the puzzle together, and solve a crime and catch the perpetrator, put somebody in jail, and give the satisfaction to the victim to know that they were vindicated. I was a detentions courts deputy for several years. Then I was able to lateral over into law enforcement. I worked a patrol station. I was a school resource officer. I was an area detective. I actually worked personnel for a couple of years. I worked Division of Inspectional Services, gets promoted to lieutenant, and I am a key component in helping erect a $1 billion new courthouse. And the responsibilities and the support I've received from my peers, my subordinates, and my supervisors is just phenomenal. And being able to be an example to my daughters as to how just hard work and good morals and good ethics and good values can let you reach things you never thought you could reach. And that's what the Sheriff's Department has afforded me, the opportunity to reach goals I never thought I could.
My current assignment is the lieutenant at the Lakeside Substation, which is essentially the chief of police for the Lakeside area. I've been with the department for 19 years. Well, I actually started with the county as a records clerk with Health and Human Services, and it wasn't the job I wanted, so I ultimately went to becoming a community service officer with the Sheriff's Department. And I loved that job so much, and thank you to a very good sergeant and a very good lieutenant. They told me to apply for deputy sheriff, something I never considered before. I did, and the rest is history. I would say my leadership skills have grown tenfold, both from being a deputy, from being a supervisor. It's so important for me to see what I can do to help other people advance themselves, and to me, that's the crux of leadership, is taking care of your people. When I first decided to go with the Sheriff's Department, it was definitely a Sheriff's Department decision, not just to be a police officer. It was to be with the Sheriff's Department, and I hold the Sheriff's Department close to my heart. And looking back over my career, I couldn't have made a better choice. I've met the best people. I've had so many opportunities to grow and to learn more about myself, to learn more about the community that I live in and the community that I serve. I just couldn't imagine picking anything else. You can really go out and really affect positive change in your community through your job. And there aren't many jobs that allow you to do that. When I'm out in the public, I'm often asked by young ladies if they should apply, if they should consider applying. And I always tell them they have to know themselves first, but that if they are even interested, I strongly suggest they do apply and that they look into the career. They have a lot to offer this department, and the department has a lot to offer them.
I first became interested in law enforcement when I was in high school. I actually took some criminal justice classes, and I went on a ride-along with our local police department. I've been working for the San Diego Sheriff's Department for over 25 years. My favorite assignment was working at the Criminal Intelligence Detail, working domestic terrorism. I worked both left-wing and right-wing domestic terrorism. I feel that I made a difference working domestic terrorism, and the way that I evaluated that was, if nothing was happening, that means you're doing your job. I think what's changed for women in law enforcement is that they're more accepted as being competent and capable. It doesn't matter whether you're male or female, you still have to show that you can do this job. Since getting involved with the United States Police and Fire Championships, it's been a great way not only to have fun and compete in athletic events, but also to stay in shape and stay physically fit. The Police Olympics has so many different events. It has something for everyone. I personally do the open water swim from Scripps Pier to La Jolla Cove. It's a 1.5 mile swim. That's my favorite event. I've had a great career. I've had a lot of opportunity. I've done a lot of interesting things, whether it was working detentions, patrol. I worked in the DARE program. I was an area detective. I worked special investigations, narcotic task force, and then I promoted.
On the Sheriff's Department for 13 years. When I first started, my family was very surprised. They were, "You're gonna do it?" They had no idea I was that committed. And when I got in, they were very supportive. My husband was very supportive of me and happy for me, and been doing this for 13 years, and they're very proud of me. I was younger. My dad is a retired sergeant from the police department, and I always looked at him as being a very honorable, respectful man, and I love my father. And I got older and married, and we were talking about what kind of career I should go into. And September 11th happened, and my husband was in the military, and as a Marine, they sent him out right away. So he was over serving and protecting, and over here, I wanted to do something for me, my family, and him to make them proud. So I joined the Sheriff's Department. So he left in September. 8 months later, I was in the academy, and he was able to come home and see me graduate from the academy. That was one of my happiest moments ever. I'm a person that was very introvert and calm and reserved, and I dedicated myself to being strong and being out there, and it's helped me become a better woman, be a stronger woman, and the Sheriff's Department has helped me, and I believe I'm a stronger person for it.
I'm a retired sergeant with the San Diego County Sheriff's Department, and my last assignment was Lemon Grove Patrol. I chose a career in law enforcement because my grandmother was a wave in the U.S. Navy, and her uniform was amazing. And I thought that that was something that I wanted to do, and I decided the closest thing to getting into the military was joining law enforcement. So when you're married and you have children, and you go home and you tell your husband, I think I'm going to join the Sheriff's Department. Trust me, it's not something that goes across easily. But over the years, as time went on, they realized that I was good at what I did. And so they were very proud of me and what I've accomplished in this field. I think the best assignment that I ever had on either of the departments was when I was able to work at the training center at Miramar, and I was one of the first females that was a coordinator that actually ran the academy. I think the main changes that I can see for women over the years has been the acceptance. Ability for us to work different assignments and to be accepted as equals is something that was not always there when I first started in 1977. I feel that it was the best career that anyone can choose, and people today, especially women, need to strive to try to get more involved in law enforcement because it's a great career.
I've been with the department coming up on 21 years. I'm a captain with the Special Investigations Division. I manage about 80 detectives, 20 sergeants, 6 lieutenants, and our goal is really to give extra support to our boots on the ground, the deputies in the field, not only at our unincorporated and contract cities, but the entire county as a whole, and basically make sure San Diego County remains the safest urban county in California. I have to say my career has been fairly charmed. I've been given so many opportunities by my supervisors. I've been exposed not only to law enforcement services and detentions bureaus, but our human resource bureau. I've been able to work in personnel and internal affairs. Many people think I probably joined because I was essentially born into the department. My dad was a brand new deputy when I was born, and we'll just say in the 70s. And after college, it really hadn't been an option for me, but then when I really started thinking, when I graduate, what I want to do, the Sheriff's Department became a very viable option in the early 90s, and that's when I applied and got that passion for it and got hired, and it was wonderful. You know, going into law enforcement is a huge, huge decision. It's not something you just pick and say, oh, I'm going to try this. When you go into law enforcement, it's definitely a commitment, and if you're thinking about it, research it, look at it, go on some ride-alongs. It's something that you won't regret later on in life when you look back and know that the position, the job you picked was very rewarding.